Ambassador Minjun Park sat quietly in his chair as the voices around him grew louder. The great chamber of the Galactic Council echoed with angry words from dozens of species. Each alien representative wanted to be heard first. Each one believed their solution was best. The holographic displays showed the same terrible numbers. Pirates had attacked 17 colonies in the past month. 3 million beings were dead. Supply ships burned in space. Families fled their homes with nothing. Minjun had watched this same scene play out for 3 hours. The council members argued about jurisdiction. They debated which fleets should respond. They questioned whether the attacks were even real threats. He touched the datapad in front of him. Inside were detailed plans his team had worked on for weeks. Human intelligence had tracked the pirate movements. Human analysts had found patterns the council missed. Human negotiators had even made contact with moderate pirate leaders who might talk peace. None of it mattered. Not anymore. Chancellor Vextar stood at the center podium. The tall Zephyrian's purple skin had darkened with anger. His forearms gestured wildly as he spoke. "These raids are not organized attacks," Vextar declared. "They are random violence from desperate criminals. We should not waste resources on massive military operations." Admiral Kethros banged his scaled fist on his desk. "The Dragnari fleet can handle these pirates easily. We need no help from lesser species." Several other voices joined the argument. The chamber filled with the sounds of translated speech from hundreds of different vocal cords. Some species clicked, others hummed. A few roared. Minjun raised his hand to speak. The gesture was small and quiet. Most of the council members did not notice. Those who did see him kept arguing with each other. He waited 2 minutes. Then he pressed the signal button on his desk. A soft chime played through the chamber's speakers. This was the proper way to request speaking time. The chime played 3 times before Chancellor Vextar finally looked his way. "The human delegation wishes to speak?" Vextar's tone carried barely hidden irritation. "Very well. You may present your thoughts quickly." Minjun stood slowly. He was not tall, compared to most species in the council. Humans rarely were. But he carried himself with calm dignity. "Thank you, Chancellor. We have prepared comprehensive analysis of the pirate attacks. Our data shows clear coordination between the raiding groups. We believe a single organization is directing their movements." Soft laughter came from several seats. The Centaurian representative made a dismissive gesture with his tentacles. "Human paranoia again," called out Ambassador Thekmol. "Your species sees conspiracies everywhere." More laughter followed. Minjun waited for it to stop before continuing. "We have identified 3 separate pirate fleets operating in perfect synchronization. Their attack patterns suggest advanced tactical planning. We recommend immediate joint fleet operations." "To joint operations?" Chancellor Vextar interrupted. "Led by humans? I suppose?" The chamber erupted with amusement. Dozens of alien voices joined in mockery. "Human military tactics," wheezed the gas-breathing Nebulan delegate through his translation device. "Primitive warfare. From a young species. They learned space combat only decades ago," added the crystalline silicate representative. "Now they think they can teach warfare to civilizations millions of years old." Minjun remained standing as the laughter continued. His expression never changed. He had heard similar words many times before during his 15 years on the council. Admiral So-Young Kim appeared on the communication screen at his shoulder. She attended these meetings virtually from the Human Fleet Command Center. Her face showed the same calm expression as Minjun. "Ambassador," she said quietly, "our scouts report the pirate fleets are moving toward the Outer Rim colonies. Estimated arrival in 48 hours. Minjun nodded slightly. He turned back to address the council. "Our military intelligence indicates imminent attacks on civilian populations. We strongly urge immediate defensive deployment." Chancellor Vextar waved one hand dismissively. Human intelligence has proven unreliable before. Remember your warnings about the Void Cult last year? Nothing came of those predictions. Several council members voiced agreement. The Void Cult incident had become a favorite example when dismissing human concerns. The fact that human warnings had prevented that crisis was conveniently forgotten. Min-jun activated his datapad one final time. The screen showed detailed evidence his people had gathered. Intercepted communications between pirate leaders. Movement patterns spanning 6 months. Financial records showing a massive organization behind the raids. We have proof of coordination. We have identified the funding sources. We know their next targets. End. Proof? Vextar's voice dripped with contempt. Human proof is speculation mixed with fear. Your species cannot accept that the galaxy is safer than you imagine. The Draknari admiral stood up. These pirates are cowards who prey on weak colonies. Any single fleet from our people could scatter them like dust. The Altarian Navy requires no assistance from humans, declared another representative. Min-jun looked around the chamber one more time. He saw the same attitudes he had faced for years. Condescension. Dismissal. The assumption that humans were too young, too primitive, too fearful to understand galactic affairs. He had given 15 years of his life to this council. Human peacekeepers had died protecting alien colonies. Human negotiators had prevented 3 major wars. Human scientists had shared breakthrough technologies freely. None of it had earned genuine respect. Only tolerance. Min-jun closed his datapad with a soft click. The sound seemed loud in the suddenly quiet chamber. He picked up his papers and arranged them neatly in his folder. Ambassador Park? Chancellor Vextar sounded confused. Did you have more to present? Min-jun stood straight. He looked directly at the Chancellor, then slowly around the entire chamber. Every alien representative watched him with varying degrees of amusement or irritation. No, he said simply. Talks end here. Humanity withdraws from all Galactic Council activities, effective immediately. The chamber fell completely silent. Several representatives blinked or made other gestures of confusion. Surely you do not mean, Vextar began. I mean exactly what I said. Min-jun's voice remained calm and professional. Good day. He walked toward the exit doors with measured steps. The other human delegates followed him without a word. Their footsteps echoed in the silent chamber. Behind them, confused alien voices began to rise. Most thought this was an empty gesture, a tantrum from a frustrated species. They would learn otherwise soon enough. Admiral So-young Kim received the message exactly 12 hours after Ambassador Min-jun Park left the council chamber. 3 simple words appeared on her command screen. Execute Exodus Protocol. She had hoped this day would never come. The Exodus Protocol was humanity's contingency plan for complete withdrawal from galactic civilization. Every human military officer knew about it. Most prayed they would never need to use it. So-young activated her command authority and sent the coded signal across the galaxy. Within minutes, every human installation received the same message. Pack up, leave quietly, come home. On Centauri Station, Dr. Elena Rodriguez was working late in the xenobiology lab. She specialized in cross-species medical research. Her work had saved millions of lives across dozens of worlds. The notification appeared on her personal device while she was reviewing tissue samples. Elena read the message twice. Then she saved her research files to encrypted drives and began packing her equipment. Her alien colleagues would wake tomorrow to find empty lab spaces and carefully labeled samples with detailed notes. She left behind years of work. But she took something more valuable. Complete knowledge of techniques her alien colleagues could never replicate alone. Captain James Chen commanded a human cargo vessel currently docked at Vegan Prime. His ship carried medical supplies destined for refugee camps in the border worlds. The Exodus Protocol message reached him while he was reviewing cargo manifests with port authorities. Is there a problem with our shipment? Asked Port Director Kexlan. The tall vegan's antenna twitched with concern. No problem, James replied calmly. Change of plans from headquarters. We need to return to Earth immediately. But the refugees. We'll need to find other suppliers. James signed the cancellation forms and handed them back. Contract terminated as of now. Kexlan stared at the documents in confusion. Human merchants never broke medical aid contracts. Their reputation for reliability was legendary throughout the galaxy. Similar scenes played out on hundreds of worlds. Human peacekeepers at conflict zones quietly packed their gear. Human technicians at research stations downloaded their personal files and left detailed handover notes. Human negotiators at trade conferences politely excused themselves and departed. None of them argued. None demanded explanations from confused aliens. They simply followed their orders with professional efficiency. Admiral Kethros was reviewing battle plans at Draknari Command when his aide brought disturbing news. Sir, the human peacekeeping force at Rigel Colony has departed. They left a message saying their tour of duty is complete. Kethros looked up from his strategic displays. Their tour was scheduled for 6 more months. Yes, sir. But they're gone. All of them. The Draknari Admiral felt a strange unease. Human peacekeepers never abandoned their posts early. They had spent 30 years building their reputation for reliability. On Nexus Prime, Chancellor Vextar was meeting with his senior staff when similar reports began arriving. Human personnel were leaving Council facilities across the galaxy. This is clearly a negotiating tactic, Vextar declared. Humans are trying to pressure us into accepting their paranoid theories about the pirates. His chief aide, a nervous Altarian named Picros, shifted uncomfortably. Chancellor, perhaps we should reconsider their proposals. The human delegate seemed quite serious. Serious? Vextar's purple skin darkened with anger. This is political theater. Humans are too dependent on galactic trade to maintain this foolish gesture for long. But the reports kept coming. Human ships were departing from every major port. Human researchers were leaving joint projects half-finished. Human medical teams were withdrawing from disaster relief operations. Dr. Kelmoth ran the Galactic Science Consortium's most advanced research facility. Half his staff was human. They specialized in adaptive problem-solving, finding creative solutions to complex technical challenges. He arrived at his laboratory to find empty workstations and neatly organized files. Every human scientist had left overnight. Their projects sat unfinished but carefully documented. Kelmoth tried calling their personal communicators. Each call went to the same automated message. This individual is no longer available for galactic communications. Please direct all inquiries to your local Galactic Council representative. 1. None. Run. 1. 1. For the first time in his long career, Kelmoth felt genuinely worried. His research projects were complex, multi-species efforts. Without human innovation and problem-solving approaches, most would take years longer to complete. Some might never be completed at all. Captain Zixna commanded the security station at Frontier Junction, a major trading hub near pirate-infested space. Her mixed-species force included 50 human tactical specialists. They handled intelligence analysis and strategic planning. When she arrived for her morning briefing, she found empty chairs and a stack of resignation letters. The humans had left during the night shift. Their commander, Major Thompson, had left a personal note. Captain Zixna, it has been an honor serving with you. Our tactical databases and security protocols are in the main computer. Access codes are attached. We recommend immediate reinforcement from Council fleets. The pirates will test your defenses within days. Zixna stared at the note in disbelief. Human tactical specialists never abandoned their posts. They were famous for their loyalty and dedication. She activated the tactical displays and felt her confidence drain away. The defensive plans were incredibly complex. Human analysts had created overlapping security networks that she barely understood. Without them, Frontier Junction was nearly defenseless. Ambassador Youthkar managed diplomatic relations for the Core Worlds Alliance. Human negotiators had helped her resolve dozens of trade disputes over the past decade. Their patience and creativity in finding compromise solutions was unmatched. She discovered their absence when she arrived at a crucial meeting between feuding merchant guilds. The humans, who always mediated these sessions, were simply gone. The meeting lasted 6 hours and accomplished nothing. Without human mediators to find middle ground, both sides left angrier than before. By the end of the first day, reports were flooding into the council chamber. Humans were withdrawing from every aspect of galactic civilization with coordinated precision. "They'll be back," Vextar insisted to his increasingly worried staff. "This is temporary rebellion. Humans cannot survive without galactic trade and cooperation." But privately, he was beginning to have doubts. The withdrawal was too organized, too complete. This was not an angry gesture. It was a carefully planned operation. As the second day began, more disturbing news arrived. Human space was functioning perfectly, without council involvement. Human colonies were increasing their own trade and cooperation. Human fleets were providing better security for their own space than the council had ever managed. It was starting to look less like humanity needed the galaxy, and more like the galaxy had needed humanity. Chancellor Vextar tried to dismiss these concerns, but deep in his mind, a terrible thought was beginning to grow. What if the humans were not bluffing? Captain Zixna stared at the tactical display with growing dread. 3 days had passed since the human withdrawal. Her fears about Frontier Junction's defenses were proving correct. The first pirate probe ships had appeared at the system's edge 6 hours ago. Without human analysts to interpret the scanner data, her security team struggled to understand the enemy movement patterns. "Captain," her communications officer called out, "we're detecting multiple energy signatures approaching the third shipping lane." Zixna studied the readings. Before the humans left, these displays made perfect sense. Human tactical specialists had created simple, clear presentations of complex data. Now the raw scanner information looked like chaos. "How many ships?" she asked. "Uncertain, Captain. The interference patterns are confusing." In the old days, Sergeant Martinez would have given her exact numbers and probable attack vectors within minutes. The quiet human had spent 2 years teaching her team to read scanner data properly. Without him, they were nearly blind. The pirates struck 4 hours later. They hit 3 cargo convoys simultaneously, while Zixna's forces were investigating false signals in the wrong sectors. 18 ships were destroyed. 300 civilians died. The pirates escaped before her fleets could respond. Professor Kelmoth faced his own crisis at the research consortium. The plague of Kepler, 442, had returned after 20 years of dormancy. The bacterial infection was spreading through 3 star systems with terrifying speed. Before the human withdrawal, Dr. Martinez and her team would have already identified genetic markers and begun developing targeted treatments. Human medical researchers specialized in rapid adaptation, finding creative solutions when standard treatments failed. Now Kelmoth stared at test results that showed the plague had evolved. Traditional treatments no longer worked. His alien medical teams followed established protocols that had always succeeded before. They were failing now. "Professor," his assistant, Dr. Veltar, reported, "the infection rate has increased by 40%. In the past day, standard antibiotics show no effect. Have we contacted the Galactic Medical Authority?" "Yes, sir. They recommend continuing current treatment protocols." Kelmoth felt frustrated anger building inside him. Human doctors would have tried 17 different approaches by now. They would have combined treatments in ways that seemed impossible. Most importantly, they would have found something that worked. The death toll was climbing toward 10,000 per day. Ambassador Youthkar was dealing with her own nightmare. The Rigel trade war had erupted overnight. Two major commercial alliances were fighting over shipping rights through the Outer Rim territories. For 15 years, human negotiators had prevented exactly this type of conflict. They had an unusual talent for finding solutions that satisfied everyone involved. Other species often called human diplomacy impossibly optimistic. Now Yithkar understood that human optimism had been carefully constructed. They found hope because they worked harder than anyone else to create options. "Ambassador," her aide reported, "the Centaurian Shipping Guild has blockaded the Vega-Rigel trade route. The Altarian Merchants Alliance is threatening military action." Yithkar reviewed the dispute files. The core disagreement was simple enough. Both sides wanted exclusive access to the most profitable shipping lanes. Traditional diplomacy offered only two solutions: give everything to one side, or divide the routes equally. Neither option would work. The Centaurians needed those specific routes for their oversized cargo ships. The Altarians required the same routes for their time-sensitive deliveries. A human negotiator would have found a third option. They always did. Yithkar could not imagine what that option might be. "Schedule separate meetings with both sides," she instructed. "Perhaps we can find some compromise." But she already knew how those meetings would go. Each side would demand everything and offer nothing. Without human creativity to find new approaches, the trade war would escalate into actual warfare. On Nexus Prime, Chancellor Vextar was receiving an endless stream of bad news. Reports arrived hourly about systems failing without human involvement. "Sir," his aide Picros announced nervously, "we have confirmation of pirate activity in 7 different sectors. Without human tactical support, our fleets are struggling to coordinate responses." Vex's Tar slammed one fist on his desk. "Our military commanders are experienced professionals. They do not need human assistance to fight simple pirates." "Yes, sir." However, Admiral Kethros has requested permission to postpone offensive operations until his tactical teams can analyze the enemy movement patterns. The Chancellor felt his patience wearing thin. "How long will this analysis require?" "The Admiral estimates 6 to 8 weeks, sir." 6 weeks? Vextar's voice rose in disbelief. Human analysts could complete such work in days. He stopped speaking as he realized what he had just admitted. The humans could do in days what his best military minds needed weeks to accomplish. Picros consulted his datapad carefully. "Sir, there are additional concerns. The economic disruption is spreading. Human merchants handled much of the complex trade negotiations between species. Without their mediation, several commercial agreements are collapsing." "Get me detailed reports," Vextar ordered. The reports arrived within hours. They painted a disturbing picture. Humans had been involved in virtually every aspect of galactic civilization. They had not simply participated. They had become essential. Trade negotiations that seemed simple actually required human patience and creativity. Security operations that looked routine depended on human tactical innovations. Research projects that appeared straightforward needed human problem-solving approaches. Most disturbing of all, the reports showed that human space was thriving. Without council oversight or interference, human colonies were more prosperous than ever. Human fleets maintained perfect security in their territories. Human researchers were making breakthrough discoveries at unprecedented rates. Dr. Sarah Thompson appeared on communication screens across human space that evening. As humanity's leading expert on alien psychology, she had been chosen to explain their position to confused galactic neighbors. "Many of our former colleagues have asked why humanity has withdrawn from galactic affairs," she said calmly. "The answer is simple. We were not partners in the Galactic Council. We were servants. Our contributions were expected but not valued. Our expertise was used but not respected. Our people died defending alien colonies, while aliens mocked our military capabilities. Humanity chooses independence over servitude. We wish all galactic species success in solving their current difficulties. We will not interfere. Markin. The broadcast reached every inhabited world in the galaxy. Alien leaders watched in growing alarm as Dr. Thompson continued. To those who claim humanity needs the galaxy for survival, we respectfully disagree. We have everything required for a prosperous civilization within our own territories. The galaxy, however, has lost something irreplaceable. They have lost a species that specialized in finding hope where none existed. A people who believed every problem had a solution, and who worked tirelessly to find those solutions. Chancellor Vextar watched the broadcast from his private office. For the first time since the withdrawal began, he felt genuine fear. The galaxy was coming apart without humanity. Conflicts that humans had prevented for decades were exploding into violence. Problems that human innovation had solved were returning without solutions. And the humans, it seemed, were doing just fine without everyone else. He activated his personal communicator and sent a coded message to his most trusted aide. Begin preliminary research into the possibility of formal negotiations with the human government, quietly. The Council's pride had led them into disaster. Now someone would have to find a way out. 2 weeks after the human withdrawal, the Galactic Council chamber looked like a war room. Emergency sessions ran 18 hours per day. Exhausted representatives argued over crisis reports that arrived every few minutes. Chancellor Vextar stood before a massive holographic display showing the galaxy in red. Each red zone indicated active conflicts, system failures, or humanitarian disasters. 17 star systems are now in open warfare, Admiral Kethros reported grimly. The Rigel trade war has escalated to actual military action. Centaurian and Altarian fleets are destroying each other's cargo ships. Casualties? Vextar asked. 40,000 dead and climbing, sir. Both sides refuse negotiation. They demand we choose one alliance to support. Vextar felt his 4 stomachs churning with stress. In the old days, human negotiators would have found some creative solution within hours. They had prevented hundreds of similar conflicts over the decades. What about the pirate situation? Growing worse daily, sir. Without human tactical analysis, our fleets cannot predict pirate movements. They strike where we are not, and disappear before we can respond. The pirate attacks had become a nightmare. Human intelligence networks had tracked pirate activities across the galaxy. Human tactical specialists had developed effective counter-strategies. Without them, the Council military was fighting blind. Economic report, Vextar demanded. Ambassador Hildan stepped forward with trembling hands. Chancellor, galactic trade volume has dropped 60%. Complex negotiations that humans managed have collapsed completely. Species are defaulting to bilateral agreements, bypassing the Council entirely. The economic damage was catastrophic. Humans had managed thousands of intricate trade relationships between species with different needs, customs, and biological requirements. Their patience and creativity had kept galactic commerce flowing smoothly. Now shipping routes were breaking down. Currency exchanges were failing. Entire trade networks were reverting to primitive barter systems. Sir, Picros interrupted urgently, we have received an emergency transmission from the Outer Rim Research Consortium. The holographic display shifted to show Professor Kelmoth. The alien scientist looked exhausted and desperate. Chancellor Vextar, I must report total failure of our medical response to the Kepler 442 plague. Death tolls have reached 50,000 per day across 3 systems. We urgently request the return of human medical specialists. Vextar's skin darkened with frustrated anger. Professor, surely your experienced medical teams can handle a bacterial infection. Sir, this plague has evolved beyond our standard treatment protocols. Human doctors specialized in adaptive medicine. They could modify treatments in real time, as infections changed. Without them, we are helpless. The transmission ended, leaving the council chamber in uncomfortable silence. Everyone understood the implications. Galactic medical science was failing without human innovation. "Additional emergency reports, sir," Picros announced quietly. The list seemed endless. The Vegan Colonial Authority reported complete breakdown of their defense networks. Human programmers had designed the security systems with adaptive algorithms that alien technicians could not modify or repair. The Dragnari Mining Consortium faced massive equipment failures. Human engineers had created automated systems that could adapt to changing conditions. Without them, mining operations were grinding to a halt. The Altarian cultural exchange was collapsing. Human anthropologists had spent decades building bridges between incompatible species. Their absence left ancient prejudices and misunderstandings to resurface. "Sir," Admiral Kethros said carefully, "perhaps we should consider formal contact with the human government." "Absolutely not," Vextar snapped. "We will not beg for their return." But even as he spoke, Vextar knew his position was becoming impossible. The galaxy was falling apart, and everyone knew why. That evening, secret communications began reaching Earth from desperate council members. The messages all contained similar pleas. Individual species were quietly asking for human assistance. The Centaurian Medical Authority offered massive payments for human doctors. The Altarian Defense Force requested human tactical advisors. The Vegan Trade Ministry begged for human negotiators. Each request received the same polite response from the Human Diplomatic Corps. "Humanity is no longer involved in galactic affairs. Please direct all requests to the Galactic Council." Some species tried bypassing the Council entirely. Private messages arrived, offering exclusive trade deals, territorial concessions, and political alliances if humans would return to help. These messages were forwarded to the Council with a simple note: "For your information, no action required." The psychological impact was devastating. Human responses were unfailingly polite and professional. They showed no anger, no desire for revenge, no satisfaction at galactic suffering. They simply did not care anymore. Captain Zixna received authorization to contact human space directly. Her situation at Frontier Junction had become desperate. Pirate attacks occurred daily. Her security forces could not protect the shipping lanes without human tactical support. Her transmission reached Admiral So-Young Kim at Human Fleet Command. "Admiral Kim, this is Captain Zixna of Frontier Junction Security. I request immediate assistance with pirate suppression operations." So-Young's image appeared on the screen. She looked calm and professionally distant. "Captain Zixna, I am not authorized to provide military assistance to non-human territories. Please contact the Galactic Council for help." "Admiral, the Council fleets cannot handle these pirates. We need human tactical expertise." "I understand your situation, Captain. However, humanity has withdrawn from galactic security operations. You must find other solutions." Zixna felt desperation rising in her voice. "Admiral, thousands of innocent beings are dying. Surely humanitarian concerns override political disputes." So-Young's expression softened slightly. "Captain, I have great personal respect for you. But my orders are clear. Humanity is no longer responsible for galactic security. Number 1. The transmission ended, leaving Zixna staring at a dark screen. For the first time, she truly understood what humanity's withdrawal meant. They were on their own. Meanwhile, intelligence reports from human space painted a disturbing picture for the Council. Human territories were not just surviving without galactic involvement. They were thriving. Human colonies reported unprecedented prosperity. Without Council regulations and oversight, human innovation was accelerating rapidly. Their technology was advancing faster than ever. Their economy was growing at incredible rates. Most troubling of all, humans were beginning to explore beyond the galactic rim. Scout ships were investigating star systems the Council had never catalogued. It appeared humans were planning expansion into entirely new regions of space. Chancellor Vextar read these reports with growing alarm. The galaxy was collapsing without human involvement, while humans were building something bigger and better without galactic help. "Sir," Picros announced nervously, "we have received a formal request from the Outer Rim Alliance. They are demanding emergency council intervention in their territorial disputes." Vextar laughed bitterly. "What exactly do they expect us to do? We cannot even handle our own problems. Sir, they are threatening to withdraw from the council if we cannot provide effective governance." The implications hit Vextar like a physical blow. If Outer Rim species left the council, others would follow. The entire galactic civilization could fragment into isolated territories. Without human mediation and innovation holding everything together, the Galactic Council might not survive another month. For the first time since the withdrawal began, Vextar seriously considered the unthinkable. Perhaps it was time to beg the humans to come back. 1 month after the human withdrawal, Chancellor Vextar stood before an emergency session of the Galactic Council. The chamber was half empty. 12 species had already withdrawn from the council entirely. Others attended only by hologram, unwilling to risk travel through pirate-infested space. The statistics were devastating. 63 star systems were in active warfare. Economic collapse had spread to 80% of galactic territories. The plague from Kepler 442 had killed over 2 million beings and was spreading to new systems daily. "We face the complete breakdown of galactic civilization," Vextar announced to the assembled representatives. His purple skin had faded to a sickly gray from stress and sleepless nights. "I call for an emergency delegation to Earth. We must negotiate the return of human participation in council affairs." The chamber erupted in angry voices. Many species still refused to admit their dependence on humanity. "We should not bow to human blackmail," declared Admiral Kethros. "This withdrawal is political manipulation. The Draknari Empire has survived for millions of years without human assistance," added the military commander. "We can solve our own problems." Absurd. Endesis Day. Absurd. Endesis Day. Endesis Day. "We can solve our own problems." Ambassador Hildan stood up slowly. "Admiral, with respect, the Draknari Empire currently has 16 systems under pirate control and 3 mining consortiums in complete collapse. How exactly are you solving these problems?" Uncomfortable silence fell over the chamber. Everyone knew the truth, even if they would not admit it publicly. "I volunteer to lead the delegation to Earth," Vextar announced. "We will negotiate for limited human assistance in exchange for appropriate compensation." 3 days later, Chancellor Vextar arrived at the Sol system with a small diplomatic fleet. They were met at the system boundary by a single human patrol ship. "Chancellor Vextar," came a familiar voice over the communication system. "This is Admiral So-Young Kim. Please state your business in human space." "Admiral, I request formal diplomatic meetings with human government representatives." "1 moment, please." The delay lasted 20 minutes. When So-Young returned, her tone was politely neutral. "Chancellor, you have been granted permission to meet with Ambassador Minjun Park at Earth Orbital Station 3. Please follow the navigation beacon." The human station was smaller than major council facilities but impressively efficient. Vextar noticed immediately that everything functioned perfectly. No system delays, no equipment failures, no administrative confusion. Ambassador Park met him in a simple conference room. The human diplomat looked exactly as Vextar remembered: calm, professional, and utterly composed. "Chancellor Vextar," Park said with a slight bow. "Welcome to human space. How may we assist you?" "Ambassador, I come to discuss the restoration of human participation in Galactic Council affairs." "I see." Park gestured to chairs around a simple table. "Please, sit. Would you like refreshments?" The formal politeness was somehow more unsettling than anger would have been. Vextar had expected demands, accusations, or satisfaction at the council's difficulties. Instead, he found complete professional detachment. Ambassador Park, the galaxy faces serious challenges that require human expertise to resolve. The galaxy's challenges are no longer our concern, Chancellor. Humanity has chosen independence from galactic affairs. Surely some accommodation can be reached. The Council is prepared to offer substantial compensation for human assistance. Park's expression remained neutral. What type of assistance did you have in mind? Vextar consulted his notes nervously. Military tactical support for pirate suppression. Medical expertise for the plague outbreaks. Negotiation assistance for the trade wars. Technical support for failing infrastructure. I see. Essentially, you want humanity to return to our previous roles as unpaid problem solvers for the galaxy. The blunt summary stung because it was accurate. The Council would provide appropriate payment this time. Chancellor, may I ask you a question? Of course. Why should humanity help solve problems we warned you about months ago? Problems you dismissed as human paranoia and primitive fears? Vextar felt his skin darkening with shame. Ambassador, perhaps the Council made errors in judgment. Perhaps. Park's voice remained calm, but there was steel underneath. Chancellor, human beings died protecting alien colonies, while aliens mocked our military capabilities. Human doctors worked without sleep to save alien lives, while aliens called our medicine primitive. Human negotiators prevented wars, while aliens dismissed our diplomacy as naive optimism. For 30 years, humanity gave everything to the galactic community. We received tolerance in return. Not respect, not partnership. Tolerance. Vextar struggled to find words. The Council recognizes that human contributions were undervalued. Were they? Park activated a holographic display. Let me show you something interesting. The display showed current conditions in human space. Prosperity indicators were all climbing rapidly. Crime was virtually non-existent. Scientific advancement was accelerating. Population growth was steady and healthy. As you can see, humanity is thriving without galactic involvement. Our economy has grown 40% since withdrawal. Our technology is advancing at unprecedented rates. Our people are happier and more productive than ever before. But Ambassador, Vextar protested, surely humanity benefits from galactic trade and cultural exchange. Does it? Park changed the display to show human exploration activities. We are currently surveying star systems beyond the galactic rim. Initial results suggest vast territories suitable for colonization. We estimate space for 10,000 new colonies within 50 years. The implications hit Vextar like a physical blow. Humans were not just surviving without the galaxy, they were preparing to expand beyond it entirely. Chancellor, humanity spent decades as junior partners in galactic civilization. We have learned that we prefer being senior partners in our own civilization. What would it take for human return to Council activities? Vextar asked desperately. Park considered the question seriously. Full voting equality in all Council decisions. Human veto power over military operations involving our people. Guaranteed human representation in all major committees. Recognition of human territorial sovereignty. And formal apologies for 30 years of systematic disrespect. Vextar's heart sank. The conditions were impossible. Too many species would never accept human equality, let alone human authority. I will present your terms to the Council, he said quietly. Please understand, Chancellor, those terms are not negotiable positions. They are minimum requirements that we frankly expect the Council to reject. Then what is the future relationship between humanity and the galaxy? Park's expression softened slightly. We are willing to establish normal diplomatic relations with any species that desires them. Trade agreements can be negotiated on equal terms. Cultural exchanges are certainly possible. But we will not return as servants pretending to be partners. That relationship ended permanently the day you laughed at our warnings while people were dying. The meeting continued for 2 more hours, But the outcome never changed. Humanity would engage with the galaxy as an independent civilization, or not at all. Chancellor Vextar returned to Nexus Prime with news that shattered the remaining Council unity. Faced with impossible terms for human return, several more species withdrew from galactic government entirely. Over the following months, the Galactic Council slowly collapsed. Some regions formed smaller alliances, others reverted to isolated independence. A few species negotiated separate agreements with humanity. The galaxy learned to function without the Council, though far less efficiently than before. Wars continued until exhaustion forced peace. Economic networks rebuilt themselves around smaller, simpler relationships. Medical and technological progress slowed dramatically. Human space continued expanding beyond the galactic rim. Occasional trade ships visited the old galaxy, but humans showed no interest in returning to their former roles. In the end, the galaxy survived. But it never again achieved the prosperity and cooperation it had enjoyed during the era of human involvement. And in human schools, children learned about the old days when their ancestors had tried to help others who did not want to be helped. The lesson was simple: respect must be mutual, or partnership is impossible. Humanity had learned that lesson well. They would not forget it again.